Hello, gardeners! I just realized how long it has been since my last garden tour, and well, I need to do an update because a lot has changed. So I think it's been close to a month since I gave you a walkabout. So let's do a quick before and after from the last garden tour to today. So here is the last garden tour, almost an entire month ago. Whoops. And here it is today. I'm gonna give you a little side shot over here as well. It's a jungle in there. So I've actually been meaning to make a new garden tour for a while now, but weather hasn't exactly cooperated. First it was a week or so of straight rain, and then it was 3 weeks of dangerous heat. I'm talking temperatures at 100 with heat indexes of 111, and it just wasn't smart to go outside. So I really didn't spend too much time out here other than what I needed to do to keep it alive, and it was on survival mode. I was on survival mode. And tonight we're supposed to be getting a tropical storm starting to come through, so now or never, I guess. But the green bean or purple or pole bean trellis she thick, she lush, she beautiful, and she's not really giving me anything right now. But that is to be expected when it gets that obnoxiously hot. The plants go into survival mode. They stop putting off blooms, and they just try to reserve as much energy as possible. But it's starting to bloom again, and I'm starting to get beans again. So no problem there. I'm not concerned. You'll probably see as I walk through that there's just watermelon everywhere. It's everywhere. I've got a couple plants in here that didn't do much, and then all of a sudden they exploded. So I think the last video I put out, I was actually talking about all my sick tomatoes. As you can see, I don't really have much left for tomatoes. But one of you guys said it could be a calcium deficiency. So I broke out my soil tests. Unfortunately, there's no available soil test for calcium for the everyday person. But I had one that tested nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and pH. And everything was looking okay except for the, what was it? Potassium? And nitrogen was a little bit low. But that got me thinking, if those are low, that probably means that my soil's missing something. Last year, I thought I was over fertilizing, so I cut back a bit this year, and turns out that was probably not a great idea. So I got some bone meal and other fertilizers and just went to town, went ham, just fertilized all the things. Because I was also noticing one thing, and I thought it was due to fungal issues. My squash was shriveling before it was even blooming. Now normally, if it shrivels after it blooms, that's just failed pollination. But like you can see, this is shriveled. It's wrinkly. It's not going to open. It's going to rot before it even opens. And I was noticing that on almost all of my squash plants. And after one of you guys mentioned, oh, it may be a calcium issue, got me thinking, calcium issues on squash too. They can get blossom end rot. While it's not super common, maybe this is presenting as blossom end rot. So, calcium's all the things. And everything's just kind of picked up and started going nuts again. So I think we're onto something. Thank you so much for suggesting that. It wasn't even on my radar because I've never had calcium issues in my soil before. But anyway, I've got squash over here, still doing great, and watermelon taking up the entire side. The cucamelons, what was it, like a little sproutling last time I showed you, is now a wall. Magnificent. I did get a couple more tomato plants in here from starts I had left over in pots, and so far they're thriving. There's one of them that was, oh goodness, brandywine tomato. And then this was an Acres tomato. So they're doing really, really well. Did also start some more tomato seeds just in case. It's going to be pushing it whether or not I get anything by our first frost. But they are germinating, so I'll be getting those in the ground soon. It's been pouring on and off all day today, so I had to come out later in the evening, and it's starting to get a little dusky out, and it's the day after 4th of July, so if you hear any random pops and bangs in the background, that's just leftovers from last night, fireworks. So sorry about that. But among the watermelon craziness, I do have a watermelon hanging out back there. That's an orange tender sweet. That one I know. And you may think this is all watermelon, but it's not. There is a honeydew. Another honeydew's in here somewhere. I think it's right there. A random potato. Nasturtiums. Teeny tiny little pepper plant. Tomato. Zucchini. So it's just getting a little wild over here. I still have some of my bush beans trucking along. Up. That's another watermelon. I'm not sure which one that is. It is not an orange tender sweet. Maybe I'll find the tag later. But anyway, I have some of my bush beans left over. They're still somehow putting on blooms. I don't understand how. Usually this is just, big flush and then it's done. But, we'll let them be and do their thing. Then this is the Ananas d'Amérique melon that I believed a rodent had chewed the top of the stem off and just basically cropped it. Well, that's not an issue anymore because it's currently taking over a sunflower. So it's a lot. A teeny tiny little melon there. It did survive its earlier chewing I mentioned on my last tour. But it's small, it's stunted. This started growing before I started fertilizing like crazy, so I think fertilizer was the issue. But I've got a whole bunch of little fruits starting on here, so we're gonna be watermelon rich soon, and melon rich in general soon. There's a squash that has traveled. Yeah, it's traveled. Lots of secondary roots on these. Lots. And I forgot I put a banana pepper there. Oh, you hear it? Leftover 4th of July. It's the South. So a lot more squash plants, and they are all looking really, really good right now. I had mentioned that I was growing them a couple different ways a while back. 2 plants of each variety, one of them being grown vertically, one of them being allowed to sprawl, to see which did better with squash vine borer. Well, every single plant is still alive. It doesn't matter how it was growing. Every single plant I have scratched off squash vine borer eggs. Every single plant I have dug vine borers out of. But with the ones growing vertically, it has been a lot easier to spot the eggs, like right there, and right there, and scratch them off way, way early. I have been just injecting BT into the stems like I usually do to combat the vine borers. Problem is when you grow them vertically, you can kill the vine borer inside, but any damage they did, the stem can't reroot along the ground because it's not growing along the ground. Whereas like this one, you can see all the secondary roots where it is rooted nowhere near where it was planted to reinforce itself after a earlier section got damaged by a squash vine borer. So with the vertically grown ones, you need to catch the squash vine borers really early so they don't do irreparable damage to the plants. powdery mildew has not been an issue this year growing them vertically. That's fantastic. A lot more airflow, a lot more space. I mean, I've got so much growing along with the squash without interfering with the squash. It's great. So I am definitely a fan of the vertical growing. Oh, and mystery pepper. I thought it was a banana pepper. It is not a banana pepper. I had a mystery pepper last year, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it is the same mystery pepper. The mystery pepper from last year, I thought I planted Italian peperoncini seeds, sweet Italian peperoncini seeds, not spicy. But I took one bite into that thing, and boy, was she spicy. It was rough, and I never really did identify exactly what kind of pepper it was, and it turned like super chocolate brown when it was ripe, and these look just like that one. So I still have no clue. I see an egg. Let me get that off. And right there. Okay. So I think, is it this plant with the watermelon over there is growing? Let me see. Do I have a... Oh, it's a black diamond watermelon. I think that's the watermelon. Yes, it started over here, went all the way behind there, and through there, and is now over there somewhere. And also over here. It's chaos. Oh, this is going to be an exciting one. Lots of background noise. So I have decided though, this is the lychee tomato, you know, the vicious thing with all the thorns. I have decided that it is just not worth it to me. I don't like it enough to battle the spiny hatred that is this plant. So it's gonna go. I'm going to cut this thing out, dig it up, burn it. It's not worth it to me. But my artichoke plant that I was able to save from being snapped off of its main taproot is now ready to be planted in the ground. And I think this would be the perfect spot for it. So we're going to replace lychee tomato with the artichoke, since it's in a bed that has a little bit more shade, which the artichoke needs here in our extreme heat and sun. And it won't interfere with any of my annuals, since artichoke here is perennial. So I'm going to be doing that here soon. The jalapenos are looking so good. I need to make some nachos. Yeah. But again, more squash. And here's another example of rotting before it ever blooms. So yes, I think calcium deficiency is spot on. And a vine borer egg. Okay, let me just... Where there's one, there's always more. Okay, good enough. Oh, I forgot to mention, some squash plants just aren't meant to be grown vertically. This is the Golden Delight zucchini. You may think it just is getting close to reaching the top of my support, which is 8-ish feet tall. No. It's reached the top, fallen over, and started growing back up it. So, bent there. It goes, and right here. And then goes back down, goes back up, and is now climbing it again. So, yeah, some squash, some zucchini and summer squash are just not meant to be trellised. Whereas, whew, that one made me jump. Whereas others, you know, that's the top of the plant. Still has plenty of room. All those have plenty of room. Lesson learned. This has been a fun experiment. So the only, oh goodness, The fireworks. Okay, so the only tomato I have left really from the original batch that's doing okay is my Champagne Bubbles cherry tomato. And with the heat, it has not produced a thing, but we're starting to get flowers, so we're on the right track. The black from Tula is alive. I don't really know what's going on with it. I honestly think this is a disease seed. I think I was correct with this plant's issues being diseased seeds, but the rest of the issues I was experiencing, like that, and whatever was over there. And this, because this was a started plant from a nursery, not when I started, that was all calcium, or just a nutrient imbalance in general. Oh, my Tidy Treats is fine. Teeny tiny, but as I say every time, that's how it's supposed to be. It is a super dwarf variety determinant, so it's only going to get so big. And it probably doesn't help that this basil tree is shading it out, although with all this heat that we've been having, that's probably not a bad thing. Oh my goodness, it smells so good over here though. I need to make some basil tea or some pesto or something. She smells wonderful. Bikinho peppers. Lots of little peppers. The little beak. I need to grab these soon, but I was having some rot issues on these too. That might be sun's gold, to be honest. I think that's sun's gold. Yeah. Banana peppers. That's a lot of banana peppers for such a tiny plant. Last year my banana pepper plant grew over 10 feet tall and started climbing a tree. So that's tiny. That's very tiny. But she's trying hard. We like that. And the New Mex Easter peppers. They weren't joking about the colors. I haven't tried one yet. Should I try one? Oh, sure. Okay, so I guess orange is like one of its final colors, and they have a slight spice to it. I don't do spicy great, but ooh, that was more than a slight spice. Oh, woo. Oh, it's tasty. I can breathe fire now. Okay, these are gonna be used for salsa. Got it. Oh, excuse me. 1 second. Oh, well, that'll clear your sinuses. I just had to record that, of course. Sharing my suffering, okay? Sorry, I'm giving the other half to the chickens because I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, ladies. I'm sorry. Oh, yep. They don't mind the heat. They can't taste it. Get it, honey. Okay. Very scattered today. Where was I? Random flower that is... What was it again? Straw flower. And a stunted ground cherry. The way I say stunted is look how teeny tiny it is. Give me 1 second. The ground cherry growing out of my green stalk that was started at the same exact time. Yeah, apparently you can draw. Wow, English is hard. Grow ground cherries in green stalks. It looks like we're gonna have some ripe soon, but it's loaded with fruit, and it's enormous, and they were all started at the same exact time. So yeah, definitely nutritional deficiency in my raised garden this year, but that is okay. And this is cool. It's really big. I had to tie up some branches with string so it wasn't getting knocked around by the wind too bad, but no, I'll take it. That's doing great. And all the straw flowers. I think only one was blooming when I did my last garden tour. Oh, they're all blooming, and I am obsessed with these. I really want to take a few off and see if I can dry them. See how they hold up, if they keep feeling like this with this vibrancy. But when they do start to get old and sad, they do wither. I don't know. I have a hard time. I'd be terrible at doing a cut flower garden because I never want to cut them. Oh man, that pepper is still coming for me. Okay. Oh, but I just love this. Trying to get the lighting right so you can kind of see it at the lighting that I see. And all I see is a nice dark area from the arch and then these just glowing orange flowers, the marigolds. It's a little dusky now and overcast, but oh, this is just my happy place. It's like enter the secret garden. Yep, this is my favorite time of year. Everything is wild. You can't really tell one plant from another. Trying to find something in here is an epic adventure. More squash than I know what to do with. Actually, I just make a lot of squash bread. Yes, zucchini bread. You can use any summer squash for zucchini bread, like patty pan squash or yellow crookneck squash or weird zucchini like zephyr zucchini. Any summer squash can be zucchini bread. A lot of people they say, I want to make zucchini bread and ask if I have any zucchini available. Oh, I don't have any zucchini at the moment, but I have patty pan. Oh, I want to make zucchini bread, so patty pan won't work. Summer squash is pretty interchangeable. There's only a few varieties that have noticeable flavor or texture differences, and I don't personally grow any of them. And a lot of those can be stored as winter squashes if you let them mature far enough. But yeah, summer squash is summer squash. Zucchini is a summer squash. Yellow crookneck is a summer squash. So I call it summer squash bread, not zucchini bread. And I did put some squash seeds, some zucchini seeds in here as a succession sowing. That is the artichoke that was snapped from its roots, and I was able to get to come back. So I need to get that out of the pot. It needs an upgrade. Oh, look at all the little berries. This is my wintergreen. Wintergreen is actually native to the United States. It grows in forests. And yeah, it's like wintergreen gum. Yeah, that's where it comes from. These little berries. Okay, on to the other section of the garden here in the backyard. Here's the before. So this was the before, or like a month ago. Corn hadn't been harvested yet. Corn wasn't even ripe yet. And this is the after. This is the now. All my corn is gone. It all ripened at the same time. I picked it and then cut the stalks down to make room for more stuff. So that back where all the corn was is kind of empty now. I did throw in some additional seeds and some sunflower seeds, and right now there's sweet potato vine growing through there, which is great because anywhere the sweet potato vine touches the soil, it will root and create more sweet potatoes. Yay. And the loofah. I can't currently walk in here without bumping my head. There's so many. Ah. Oh, here's another ground cherry. It is not as stunted as the other one. It's in a different raised bed, but I don't think this raised bed has those deficiencies. Oh my God, hands work. Yeah, so I think this one's just a little bit smaller just because it's so shaded out. Then sweet potato vines are also intermingled in here, and they're climbing up. along with the loofah. And there's a watermelon in here too. I think we actually have a melon hiding in there. Do I remember? I think it was the Crimson Sweet. It's getting that time of season where I don't remember. And that is okay. I'm also planting seeds and not labeling them, and random things just keep popping up like, oh, did I plant this? Mid-year psychosis. Mid-year garden psychosis. There we go. Well, hello ladies. Don't worry, I'm not gonna bother you. I just want to show them your living wall. So I had some leftover loofah plants, and I just plopped them over here. It's because I can't get myself to throw away something living. And they're growing all over the run, which is fantastic, giving a little bit of shade to these spoiled butts. Hi girls. Hi Mabel. You tell everyone that you went crazy broody and had your own saga about it, but are now back to normal and just a strange bird. And there is a maypop in here somewhere, but it is horribly just infested with spider mites. Let me see if I can find a spot where you can actually see it. Oh. Maybe? They're so tiny. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to focus. There we go. Look at all that. Infested. But we've had such high heat, low humidity, drought, intense oven-like temperature that spider mites thrive in that. It's not usually something that we have here. So it is flowering. No open flowers right now. Nothing pretty I can show you. Why you fail me, plant? But yeah, the beans also had some spider mite issues. Hopefully with this storm that's coming in, it'll help to resolve some of that. But I just think this is cool. Nice little living shade wall. The girls eat anything that makes it through the fence, but that's okay. It may be a little bit hard to tell on camera because it's auto-correcting for the light, but it is starting to get a little bit darker out, and it's getting a little bit more active out with all the fireworks. So I might have to finish up tomorrow and do the front yard tomorrow. Give you an update on some of the fruit trees, and I moved all my blueberry bushes and got a whole center island set up, but we'll see. But I will probably have to do that tomorrow. Fingers crossed there is at least a short period of dry weather with the tropical storm that's coming in where I can just pop out and give you guys a quick update over there. But yeah, it's starting to sound like the 4th of July again for the second night. And I have, unfortunately, a dog who is terrified of fireworks, despite doing everything we could when she was a puppy to socialize her and get her used to strange sounds and loud noises. Oh, and it's starting to rain. Great. So I'm going to call it, and I will pick this up tomorrow. It is the next day, and we have a brief break between the rain bands, so I'm trying to get the front yard tour done real quick while I still have the chance. Dorman red raspberry, still loaded with fruit. They did, well, that's a pretty one. They did kind of slow down there in our superheat because everything was just in survival mode. But they are still producing. Ooh, I got some hiding. Yoink. The Dorman red raspberries seem to do a lot better in the heat than most varieties. I mean, they are native to Australia, so that makes sense. But even they seem to struggle when we haven't had rain in a month, and the heat is 111. But we're getting rain now. So desperately needed, so I'm not upset about it. And don't mind the hum of the HVAC systems in the neighborhood, but just wanted to show you this lovely little tropical corner. Elephant ear has filled in so much, it took a lot of damage with our snow this year. But all my Siam tulips are starting to bloom. I love the little side flowers they get. They're like little tongues. and the torch ginger lily. I think torch ginger. I'm not entirely sure the name of it, but similar family. It's an ornamental ginger. So pretty! I really want to get it more forward so it's not tucked back there too much, but the butterfly ginger lily, all the salmon colored ones are blooming beautifully, and oh my gosh, if only you could smell them. I think the white ones are just about to bloom. Those ones are super strong smelling. Let's see. Oh yeah, just starting. Oop, that's a wasp. But yes, this is my amazing smelling tropical corner. It stays kind of damp over here because we've got two houses kind of draining into this middle area and running to the street, and these all love a little bit more water, so it works out really well. I do actually have watermelon here too. It's struggling though. It's shaded out and neglected, but let it do its thing. It's not hurting anything. The dwarf pomegranate has loads and loads and loads of blooms, but it's only really set one fruit so far. And these things take a really, really long time to ripen. So in order to get fruit, it really needs to set fruit in May, early June at the latest, because it'll take all summer to ripen up. So I'm not sure if this one will have enough time before frost to ripen. But the flowers are so cute. They're like little parachute pants. These are the 3 blueberry bushes I moved. So my 2 fruit trees, which has been here the whole time, I created this little center island recently. And when my blueberries were done fruiting, I moved them over here, which was just a couple days ago. Although it's not like I got any fruit off of them anyway. All the birds beat me to it. But these things, these are like 3 or 4 years old. And they're teeny, teeny, tiny. Well, except that one. This one is one I got recently, which is younger than these 2, which I had previously. And these things never grew. And I expected them to shock really bad when I transplanted them because it's really hot. No, they're doing so much better than they did. I moved them from my little side yard here. You can actually see the 2 little holes there. The soil was so compacted. When I dug them out, I expected to have to dig around a bunch of roots, try not to disturb the roots as much as possible, but no, that wasn't an issue. The soil was so compacted here that the roots were the same size as when I planted them 3 years ago. Actually, one of them was a little bit smaller because its roots got smothered. So, loosened up that root ball, put them in the front yard, which is much looser soil. I'm not sure why this side area is just so compacted. But I remember when digging those holes that it was like trying to dig into solid rock with a pickaxe. It was rough. I thought I had amended the soil enough to combat that, but clearly not. So hopefully now they'll start to grow and maybe I'll get more fruit than 1 or 2 berries. That'd be nice. My little persimmon tree has dropped a lot of fruit that it set, but it also held on to so much. I did thin this. But you know, thinning is like painful, painful for me to do. So I didn't thin it enough. But that's okay because it thinned itself a little bit more and held on to quite a bit of fruit for this teeny tiny little tree. This should be ready around October. Cleaned up and rearranged my porch and put one of my favorite flowering trees right by my front door, and it was a beautiful decision. This thing is loving the slightly shadier area. This is a plumeria, native to Hawaii, and I always thought full sun, loves full sun. No, put it on the front porch, it is thriving, it is living its best life. It probably gets like 3 hours direct sun and then is in the shade, partial shade for a good part of the day. So I think that worked out perfectly, but oh gosh, I love it. It's beautiful. It smells so good. And look at that. And this American Beauty dragon fruit, the storm we had not too long ago, we had a really horrible thunderstorm come through. Actually snapped off a bunch of limbs. So I got this as a cutting last year. It was just this single segment here. and it grew up and really created a nice umbrella at the top, but the wind snapped a bunch off. So dragon fruit roots so easy. I just took the snapped off bits and stuck them in the soil, and they will reroot in the next month or so just fine. I mean, some of them are even showing new growth already, and they're not even re-rooted. Give them a chance, put them a foot near soil, and they will figure out how to keep growing. But I did cut the tips off of some of the mature branches by cutting the tips off, just very, very top tip. So here's one I didn't cut. I would cut probably right about there. This one's just not quite mature yet, mature enough. But that encourages them to set fruit. That teeny tiny little node right here, that looks like it's going to be a fruit bud. Another one right there on a tip I cut. So if you have a dragon fruit that is from a cutting, maybe a year old or so, or is a good size, and you want to try to encourage it to fruit, cut the very tips of the oldest branches off. You'll start to get fruit nodes. If you've been following the dragon fruit saga, I had Big Mama Jamma, Mama Dragon Fruit, which was massive and just destroying the trellis she was on. That's how I learned how to build a proper trellis for them. But I thought that was an American Beauty dragon fruit for the longest time until it bloomed and produced fruit, and the inside of the fruit was white, and American Beauty is supposed to be pink. So I hunted down a cutting from a reputable supplier, and that's where I got this one, and it's growing like a weed, growing beautifully. So we'll see if I get fruit off of it this year. It would be the first year since I only got it from a cutting a year ago. But Big Mama Dragon Fruit, actually, I left her outside all winter, and we got snow in South Carolina, and she succumbed to her injuries. I do have an offspring of hers in cutting that I kept in the garage that is rooted and growing, so she's not gone. It's just the next generation of her. So that's what's left of her from a cutting. So she'll grow. You need to stay over there. Oh, she's so spiny. I will deal with you later. But yes, tiny bit left. I think it's a Vietnamese white because the lady I got the cutting from got it from one of those big box stores like Home Depot. And a lot of times I see them have dragon fruit labeled American Beauty and Vietnamese white. So I'm just guessing that the labels were mixed up, and this is a Vietnamese white labeled as an American Beauty. So, but either way, it still produces. It's still self-pollinating. Vietnamese white is self-pollinating. Sorry, I still love that entrance. That's my favorite part. Anyway, the rain bands are starting to come back in, so I'm gonna have to call it. I think I touched base on everything that really changed since the last time I said hi. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, of course, let me know, and beware of peppers that were labeled as mild but are not at all. And I'll see you next time. Bye.